Yeah, so in this lab, you have to install a tool called Systemback. There are other tools also available on this link. You know, if you want to use a different tool, but we have tested it and it's working, so you can use this tool, Systemback. So the idea in the lab is that, let's assume that you are going to investigate a system which has been compromised, or you want to collect the evidence. But before you collect the evidence, you need to take the image of the system. And then, because one of the most significant things in digital forensics is to verify that the
Mr.
integrity.
Asad,
Yeah.
I'm sorry so much. I'm just joining right now. Yeah, wait. So I'm just asking for if you have taken attendance.
Yeah, Miss Abir will shortly take it. So
Yes, I will make the attendance. I need just
So
5 minutes.
Yeah, so can you please take my attendance? Yeah, I'm just late for 5 minutes.
yeah, it's okay. Just raise your hand and Miss Abir, she will take it.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. So coming back to the scenario that you are you have to investigate a system, but before you start the investigation, one of the recommended things is that you have to take the image of the system and then take the hash of that image and then work with the image and not on the actual system, right? So you guys have used Autopsy before, you know, in which we had the ready images that you basically investigated, but we didn't go through the process of creating the image and then taking the hash, and then, because one of the significant things is that the image is not, the integrity of the system that you are investigating is not compromised. Nobody has contaminated the evidence. So for that reason, today's lab is about how you can take the image and then also verify the integrity of the operating system. So Miss Abir, she has shared a document.
I'll share it. Just a minute. So sorry for this. That's my device hand.
No problem. We'll see. Maybe I downloaded it just now. So Miss Abir, she has prepared these instructions how you can install this Systemback tool. I haven't used this method to install it, but I think she has already verified it, so it's working fine. You can use these steps, use the exact same commands to install Systemback. Okay.
You can get it.
Yeah, I already have it on the screen. Okay, so guys, you can use this one, this method to install it.
No, they have another one. Send it on Discord right now.
Is it different?
It contains these instructions. No, but with the images, with the more clarification for this lab, more details.
Okay.
Added by Abdullah.
Okay, got it. So you guys can follow these steps, right?
Yes, these steps must be followed to install the Systemback.
Yes. Now, like I said, I mean, there are more than ways that you can do it. The method that I used is a bit different. So let me see. So what I did was basically downloaded this the file, this one, tar.xz, this package I downloaded from SourceForge. It's basically a zip file, and then I extracted it by using tar xf, and then you give the file name. Let me just show it to you. cp (402) dot okay. So what I did was I just downloaded this file. If you want to follow this method, it's fine. Otherwise, you can use the one which is in the lab. They're both. The idea is just to install the Systemback. Okay, so tar xf Systemback. This will basically just extract the files and create a directory. Inside the directory, you can go inside the directory, and then you have this install.sh file. Just before you start installing,
it's another way.
You can run apt-get update. Okay, just to update your Linux operating system. And for me, I'm getting this error because of the Systemback. But anyways, for you, like I said before, you install, you can, and then you just write /install.sh. Once you press enter, it will install it. So either ways is fine, whatever works for you. If the other method works, like the one which is shared by Ms. Abir, you can try that one first. If it doesn't work or you have any problems or issues, you can download this. I will share the link, and then simply you need to run two commands. One is tar xf, and then the other one is /install.sh. Okay, and it should work fine. It will be installed. Once you install it, you will find it here. Just write Systemback, and you will find it. It's a GUI based application. Okay, so the first step, I think everything is in the PDF. So sorry, it is on the platform and on the PDF file. So as you can see, all the steps are given. Once you open it, you basically go to the bottom of the application, use the arrow here, and then go to the settings, and then check this box, create live ISO image automatically. So in other words, you go to the application, you go here, you go to the settings, and then it will be basically unchecked. So you just need to check it to create the live ISO image. Go back, and then you can create the live system. On the right side, you can see live system created. So as you can see that by default, it is actually going to create the image in the home directory. Okay, so once you click this, you can rename it or name it. Here you can either change the directory. If you don't want to change, let it go to the home directory. And here you can give whatever name. Maybe you can give your own name just for the sake of it. And then just simply you need to create new. Also check the user data files to be included if it is not checked already. So check this option as well and create it. Now this process might take some time because depending on the size of the operating system that you have, it will take some space. So just make sure that wherever you have the Kali Linux on your system in the drive, just make sure you have enough space there, because it takes a lot of space. So once you complete this process, and it may take, I don't know, maybe 15-20 minutes, depending upon how fast your system is, maybe even more. Then you go to the home directory, and you can see that there's Kali backup.iso images there that I already created, because I don't want to go through this during the lab. It takes a lot of time. If you want to check the size of this image, So you can see that it's quite big. Once you have the image with you, now all we need to do is go to the next step, that we want to verify if this image is actually, we want to take the hash of this image and then keep it safe somewhere, because in future you may have to compare it with the operating system, or when you're presenting the evidence in the court of law. So you may have to take the hash again and show that, okay, this was the hash when the image was taken. It has not been modified. The integrity is still there, right? So first step is creating the ISO image. The step number 2 is to take the hash of the image, but that you can use by using MD_sum. MD_sum, it's already there by default in Kali Linux, so you won't have any problem with that. And then take the hash of this. What does it say? Oh, okay. So now MD5 sum. Okay. So MD5 is already there. It will take some time to take the hash. However, I did it already. As you can see that the hash of this file is this one. Now you need to compare it with the autopsy. So you load the image into the autopsy and then take the hash and then see if these two hashes, they match with each other. Now, I think you are familiar with the autopsy. I don't know if you worked on the Windows, but you have the autopsy within Kali Linux as well. However, it doesn't have a GUI interface. It has a web interface, right? So let me show you. My system is getting slow and slow. I think let it work on the hash first, and then I will open the browser. So I'm running the autopsy. You have to create the new case in that, and then the option will come that whether you want to calculate the hash of this image or not. So when you load this image from the home directory, you will check the option that you want to take the hash. If you see this hash that is calculated by the autopsy, is actually the same hash that you can see using MD5, which basically means that the image is not modified. Nobody has contaminated the evidence. So as an outcome of this lab, we actually want you to show us that you have taken the hash of this ISO image, and this hash is actually same, which is actually generated by the autopsy. Now, if you're not familiar with the web interface of the autopsy, no problem, it's quite simple. Let me just repeat and show it to you. So you can see that it has, taken a new hash of this. Okay, so I will leave it there. However, I will go back and start autopsy. Too many terminals. Let me close everything. Okay. So I will keep it here, or I will go here and start autopsy again. You haven't used it within Kali Linux. So as you can see, autopsy is there. I will open it. And as you can see, when it boot, it starts. It shows you that you can access the autopsy on this particular URL. Like I said, it has a web interface. So I'm not really a fan of autopsy in Linux because the Windows version is much better. But the problem is that the image is inside the Kali Linux. So if you want to work with autopsy in the Windows, you may have to copy this image outside the Kali Linux, and it's another hassle. It will take a lot of time. So rather than doing that, you can work within the Kali Linux. And by the way, once you are done, please make sure to delete this ISO image from Kali, okay? All right, so the problem is that I did not copy it properly. So you can see here that you have this web interface and it says you want to open the case or create a new case. Obviously, we are creating the new case. We can call it case 1, for instance. Description, just, write hash verification investigator Lamia, since she was the champion of the week, and then we go ahead and create a new case. When you go to new case, it asks you to create it or add a host. So the host name, you can give whatever host name you want. I'm going to call it host 2. Time zone, it's up to you whether you want to skip it or you want to use EST. Now it says whether you want to add an image. I will say yes. So here you have to point it to the image that you want. Now it is asking me for the whole path of the image. So what you can do is, just a minute. It is in the home directory, but sometimes, you will miss the file name or something. So cd/home. Sorry. Yeah. So this is the image that I want, right? So I will just copy this name. Sorry. I'm a bit fast. So /home and then / and then the file name. Okay. So this is basically pointing to the image that you are working with. Leave everything else to default. Next. Now this is the point where you want to calculate the hash. So there are 2 options, 3 options. Either you can ignore the hash value for this image, or you can calculate the hash value for this image, or you want to verify it. If you want to verify it, you will have to copy the hash that you just generated by using MD5 for the verification purposes. If you just want to calculate it, you click calculate and add. Now again, it will take some time to calculate the MD5 hash. We already have the hash value in the terminal, I guess, if I didn't lose it. Yeah, so I have it here. Once I get the hash from the autopsy, you're basically done with the lab, which basically means that you have verified that the image hash is still same and the evidence is not modified. All right, so this is mainly the lab for today that you have to submit. Do you have any questions?
Asad?
Yeah.
How long does it take the process to finish, to complete? Because I'm running like slow.
Yeah, it will take a lot of time. Like I said, the Linux size is quite big itself. So when it takes the ISO image of the whole operating system along with the user files, basically takes a lot of time.
Okay, thank you.
So like I said, I don't know, maybe
Mr. Asad,
20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, maybe
Thank you.
more. Yeah.
the assignment is individual or in groups?
Well, this is an individual assignments, but we will still create the breakout rooms for you guys so that you can still work together, exchange information
Okay.
if you are having any problem. And
Okay.
the outcome, like I said, is mainly this what we are looking for, that the hash that you calculated here and the hash that you calculated using MD5 sum should be the same. Okay. Miss Abir, are you there? You guys want to have an extra lab also today?
Yes, tell me.
Should we give them an extra lab also, or this is enough for them?
So for me, yes, we need an extra lab.
Guys, I think
What do
once
you
the
think?
once the ISO image is done, I don't think it will take too much time for you to finish the lab, right? I mean, the steps are pretty
Yes,
simple.
totally agree. Yes,
Sorry?
it is straightforward lab.
Yeah, yeah,
If they follow these instructions step by step.
yeah. So now, if you guys are done with the lab, I have an extra lab for you. You guys were working with the red line yesterday. Am I right? You still have that memory image. I don't know how many of you were successfully able to complete that lab. But there is another tool called Volatility. It's really an amazing tool.
It's recorded, Asail.
I think I started the recording.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so if you want to work with an extra lab, so there's a tool called Volatility. You can.
I just have one question. I'll just go to the step before the two. Is the last step sudo apt
Asad,
get
can you
install.
hear her clearly?
I cannot hear.
Yeah, do you hear me now?
I can't hear you.
You can hear me now. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes. I tried to install Systemback and give me error, unable to locate the package system.
Did you follow these instructions?
Yes, and I want you how to install them, but I don't know what is the problem.
Exactly these instructions, the one which are
Yeah.
given here.
Yes, yes, I tried.
Okay, can you try with the other method then? Let me share the link.
What the error?
Could I share my screen to show you, or send you an image screenshot of what I did? Hello.
Just a minute, please. Don't share the screen right now. Where is Discord? Just in case, if the first method doesn't work, you can download from this link.
Verified. It
Systemback.
verified already, but it may be didn't work with someone.
Okay, just a minute. Guys, we can talk about the errors later, huh? Okay, let me just finish it. First, from my side, I will then stop the recording. Then we can discuss whatever problems you're facing. Okay?
All right. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the next lab, the extra lab for today, I will actually provide you with the lab manual itself. It has all the screenshots. So I have all the screenshots and what steps you need to do, as you can see it in this lab. So the idea here is that volatility basically is because we are still studying the digital forensics today, right? So the idea here is that you can use volatility to do the memory forensics. So if you go to the Volatility Foundation here, you can go to the downloads. Okay, you can go to Volatility 3 and you can download the source code here that says download version 3. Or what I prefer usually is I go to the GitHub page. Go to Volatility 3. This is the method that I usually use. So go and copy this link. Go back to the Kali Linux terminal. Just want to see if it is already there. Yeah, it's there. So I will move to some other directory. I don't want to copy it in the same directory. So cd/root ls. Sorry. Okay, so I will just copy it in downloads. Okay, and then write git clone. Since I have copied the URL, you can download it. And you can see the folder for volatility 3 is there. You can move to the volatility and then write ls, and then you will see all the files that are there. Okay, now the installation process is not that complicated. It's actually on the GitHub page itself. Again, I will share this GitHub page with you guys in the Discord. Okay. The first thing you need to do is basically to run this command, pip install -r requirements -minimal. It's up to you whether you want to install the minimal requirements or you want to install the complete requirements. So there are two files in this directory, requirements.txt, and there's a second file called requirements-minimal.txt. So minimal means that it will install the minimal packages which are listed in this text file. And this text file contains all the packages. If I want to look into this file by using the cat, so you can see that these are the packages that it is going to download and try to install. And since I have already done this as well, pip3 install -r requirements.txt. So I'm trying to install all the requirements. Like I said, I have already done that. So probably it might say that you already have these packages already within my operating system. You might get an error related to the snappy, Python snappy. Ignore this error because it is already there. So I don't know, it should have detected that I do have the Python snappy module, but it somehow gives me an error that, you know, it was not able to, because when I do apt-get install Python snappy, it's not there. Python 3 snappy, maybe. No. But I don't want to go into the detail of how to fix this error, but it will still work with you because the minimal requirements doesn't require Python snappy for this particular tool. Okay, so ignore this error, and I think most of you will get this error. Now going back to the directory itself, so you can see a lot of files are there. If you are done with the installing the requirements, you are basically ready to work. So don't follow these steps of build and install. It basically means that you are trying to install volatility so that you don't have to be in this directory to run it. So if you prefer that, okay, I want to run volatility from any directory, means outside this folder also, then you need to run this. Otherwise, it will still work with you. All you have to do is Python 3, and as you can see, there is vol.py file there, this file. So you can point it to this. And then if I just write -h, it will start the volatility framework and it gives me the help. What are the options that I can use with this tool? Okay, so there are lots of options there. So -h is for help, -c is for config, p is for plugin. We won't be using most of these switches. We will be using the plugins which are there. So as you can see, there are Linux plugins, there are Mac plugins, there are Windows plugins. What these plugins basically mean that if you are analyzing the memory image, the RAM image of a Windows operating system, you will be using this. Also, please keep in mind that the difference here is that when you are using FTK and KS autopsy, you're basically looking into the hard drive, the C drive, and all these directories. However, if you want to perform the memory analysis, the RAM analysis of the running processes, then you need a tool like Volatility, you need a tool like Redline, you need a tool like Cyber Triage. Cyber Triage and Redline, they are both graphical user interface tools. Volatility is more like command line tool. Okay, so just to clarify this. Now I have provided you guys with the image yesterday, which was crydex.vmem. I have another image as well, which is zeus.vmem, which basically was another malware. But today I don't want you to give a new image. You can work with the crydex itself still. I will show you how you can start working with the particular with this volatility tool. So again, Python 3 vol.py -f, and then I don't know if it is clear. Let me zoom in. So -f, and then you have to point it to the file. So my file is on the desktop. So root desktop and crydex.vmem. So I'm basically pointing volatility towards the image that is on my desktop. If you have it on the desktop, you will probably write the same path. If you have it in some other directory, you will use something else. Now, the first thing that I want to do is I want to use the plugin called Windows. Okay, another thing, if you don't know which plugin to use, you can write Windows and then press dot and then press enter. If you press enter, you will see all these plugins are there for the Windows. Like, for example, if you want to do the process list scan, you have this plugin called windows.plist. If you want to do, again, this is also plist scan and ps scan. They both have process scan. They're actually used, one of them, like ps scan, is used when some processes have been already terminated, but they were executed. So if you want to match these two different outputs, you can use ps scan and ps list as well. If you're looking for some registry keys, registry hive list, you can use this plugin. If you are looking for a malware that, okay, if there is any process that is malicious, there's a plugin called malfind, sorry. Let me see if I can find it here. This is mutant scan, is also for the malwares. Okay, my Kaspersky is giving me a message, cannot guarantee the authenticity of the domain. Okay, disconnect. So my system is always infected, by the way. Can you guys see here from malfind? Yeah, so this is a malfind plugin, which is used to find if there are some processes running and maybe some of them are malicious, or one of them is malicious. You can actually use this plugin to find if a process is malicious. Now, when I use this plugin, it's not necessarily means that the processes which are listed, all of them are malicious. However, it will narrow down to some of these processes. At least you can, narrow down your investigation. So like I said, there are too many plugins here. The first one that I want to check is the process list. So if I have to use the process list plugin, I will just write ps list. Okay, and let's see what is the outcome. I think the first time it will give you something like this in the verbose mode. The next time it doesn't show you. It's weird. I mean, I like the older version of volatility. It was very stable. So if you go, but the problem is that the older version works in a different way. So it doesn't work with the plugin that has switches and options that you have to use. So I think I need to zoom out because it's not giving me a good view of the processes. Again, I will zoom out.
I said, I think the problem maybe with the image itself.
What's the problem?
I think because we have run the same image in line, the red line, but we haven't found any IB. I think just one.
No, I think there's a problem. I think one of you guys, if you click on the processes, actually it will show you the IPs also, to which IP the process is connected. Okay, so there's no problem with the image. So as you can see here, for example, it is showing me all the processes which were running. So most of them are Windows processes, like when you log in, this process starts. as there is LSAS, or is also related to the login. There are svhost.exes. There is, Explorer running. There is a printer service running. And then there is another process called reader_sl.exe, which is 1640 is the process ID. And by the way, there are two columns here. You can see here, this column is for the process ID, and this is for the parent process ID, which basically means that this basically process is a child process of another process, which is, so sometimes what the attackers, they do is that they hook up the process with the parent process. So whenever the explorer.exe is running, malware or the malicious process will also run along with this. And most of the times, this is the attackers, they usually hook up their malwares with some of the system processes which are mostly running to get persistence so that they remain connected. Okay, so the hint here is that the process which is malicious is 1640. An interesting thing that you can see here is that if you look at this process and the time, that what time it was executed, 2:42:36 is actually same for this process, which is the explorer.exe, which is its parent process. So you can get an idea of looking at the processes and how they got executed, is that the parent process is 1484, which is this process, explorer.exe. So both the processes are actually getting executed at the same time, which is actually, something suspicious. Now, I will not go through all the steps because I have prepared this for you guys, which has the screenshots in it. So as you can see, you can get the image info as well if you run this particular plugin to get information about the images, the date, the system time. And then this is the one which shows the process list. This is the one which shows the PS scan. If you want to match these two, that, to see if some processes were actually terminated, but it's actually the same, so there's no difference. You can also run sessions to see the processes that have active sessions. The interesting thing here that you have to do in the last part of this particular lab is, and also you can see this malfind. So let me just execute this plugin for you, windows.malfind. Like I said, all the processes listed in malfind are not necessarily malicious, okay? So just keep that in mind. Now, if you see, it has listed multiple processes because they are executable processes. The thing that we are interested in are these two processes. And one of the things that you have to notice is that for this particular process and for this particular process, they are starting with MZ, which basically is for the, so always the hexadecimal value for the Windows executables starts with 4D and 5A. 4D and 5A, and also you can see this ASCII letters for these hexadecimal, which basically means that these two processes are executable processes. Most of the malicious for malwares, they are executables if you are investigating a Windows machine. There's another last step that you have to do. Okay, so you will go through all these steps. I'm not doing all of them for you, but the last step that you will have to do is that you will have to dump the files from this and then take the hash using MD5 sum. So let me just show you the plugin that you will use for that purpose. So as you can see, there's a plugin called windows.dump files. So you will use this plugin to dump all the files from this memory image into some folder. Take the hash of the suspicious process that we were discussing, reader.exe, reader_sl.exe. Copy that hash and put it in the virus total and see if you get any hits for a malicious or a malware. Okay, so this is your extra lab for today, and I think it should be enough for today. Now, once I stop the recording, if you guys are facing any issues with the Systemback, then we can discuss it. Okay, let me stop the recording first.